So lads, I mean this when I say this. I want all the Stephanie White apologists to come out. Because it's very, very clear that Stephanie White is not the right coach for Caitlin Clark. I don't mean this when I say this. I don't think Stephanie White's a bad coach. In fact, I think Stephanie White's a really good coach. The fact that she was able to pull off a Commissioner's Cup win with the roster that they had, she is a great coach. We are not going to slander Stephanie White's ability to coach right here, but we are going to question Stephanie White's ability to specifically coach Caitlin Clark.
What exactly happens when the undeniable force of nature that is Caitlin Clark is seemingly told to dim her own light? It's a scenario that defies all rational basketball logic. The league's most incandescent scorer, consistently demonstrating her ability to ignite an offense, appears to be operating under a directive that actively discourages her signature play. This isn't just a baffling strategic decision, it speaks to a fundamental philosophical disconnect within the team's leadership that has left fans, analysts, and even Clark herself visibly perplexed. What we're witnessing is more profound than simply poor coaching. It suggests a deep-seated resistance to the very brilliance they brought in.
Well, the cat is out the bag, man. Now, I told y'all, I was one of the first people to let it be known. Head coach Stephanie White is so against Caitlin Clark. It's clear as day, and it's very much clear as day that this front office dropped the ball in hiring her to be Caitlin Clark coach. I'm telling you right now, Stephanie White do not want Caitlin Clark to shoot the ball. It's clear as day. She want to run this motion offense, and quite frankly, Caitlin either need to get the hell out of Indy or the front office need to make it their business to hire a new.
The pervasive dread felt by enthusiasts of women's basketball has unfortunately materialized. Caitlin Clark, a truly transformative offensive talent, has been entrusted with the symbolic keys to the Indiana Fever franchise, only to find herself constrained by an inexplicable restrictive mandate. It's akin to acquiring a precision-engineered supercar designed for exhilarating performance, then immediately consigning it to a dusty garage, opting instead for a cautious spin in a dilapidated utility vehicle. Viewers didn't flock to screens anticipating a methodical, risk-averse point guard. They tuned in for the audacious deep triples, the breathtaking spontaneity, and the sheer audacity that defined her collegiate career. Our expectations were for thrilling, boundary-pushing basketball, not a cautious display of controlled passing and infrequent, reluctant jump shots.
Let's take a listen to this. This is, by the way, during the New York Liberty game. This is during the New York Liberty game. During the Liberty game. Let's take a listen. Or, well, sorry, not during, about the Liberty game. This is the game where Caitlin Clark hit five threes in the first half. This is the game where Caitlin was on like an all-time heater and then randomly she just stopped shooting. Like, that is the thing. That is the thing that happened. She randomly just stopped shooting while she was on an all-time heater. She was on an all-time heater and she just randomly stop shooting.
The true irony of this unfolding narrative is that Clark herself isn't faltering. Rather, she's navigating a system that feels less like a strategic game plan and more like an elaborate, self-imposed restriction. Her phenomenal skills are being funneled through a playbook that prioritizes cautious adherence over aggressive creation. It's bewildering to watch a coaching staff take the NCAA's all-time leader in both scoring and assists and seemingly reduce her role to a secondary deferential option, while the primary offensive potential is left waiting for a reset pass from the perimeter. This approach fundamentally misunderstands the very essence of her unique game.
So I had a film breakdown prepared today, but I'm actually going to go a different direction. This is a rant because we have to talk about the state of this Indiana Fever team, and I'm here to bring the reality to all you Fever fans. This team is not a championship team. They're not a championship team. They're nowhere near close to a championship team because every team that is a championship team can play defense. This Indiana Fever team has no defense, and that's like the farthest of their problems. Their offense looked really bad today, and Caitlin Clark obviously didn't shoot the basketball well, but I'm not going to blame this loss on Caitlin Clark, even though obviously they would have won if she would have shot the ball well. My whole thing is you were up when Caitlin Clark wasn't shooting the ball well. You had a double-digit lead in that first half while Caitlin Clark was clanking every single three.
The Indiana Fever's decision to draft Caitlin Clark was never merely about acquiring a single player. It was about embracing a cultural phenomenon. They didn't just add an athlete to their roster. They ignited a massive movement, drawing millions of new viewers, filling previously quiet arenas, and sparking a media frenzy that hungrily devours every update. Yet, in a perplexing twist, the most significant resistance to fully harnessing this momentum, and indeed to Clark's unparalleled impact, appears to emanate from within the team's team's own coaching staff. It's an unforeseen plot development that actively works against the very wave they ostensibly sought to ride.
And Caitlin Clark, man. Now, Caitlin Clark went on Sue Bird podcast and dropped major gems, bro. She let it be known that Stephanie White do not want her to shoot threes. Yes, this is not clickbait. Oh, my goodness, guys. Check this out.
So professionally, like that Liberty game, I feel like as a shooter, like when you see like 2 or 3 go in, especially like for me, like if I have 2 back-to-back in a row, like I'm probably gonna launch a third that maybe isn't advised, but like I gotta get it up. And then if the third goes in, like you're just hot. I think as a shooter, like your confidence just builds and builds and builds. It's just coming off your hand better.
Shooters shoot. There's an unwritten rule in sports, almost a universal law. When a player possesses the unique ability to single-handedly change the dynamic of a game with their scoring, you unleash them. When that player is Caitlin freaking Clark, you don't merely tell her to moderate her aggression, you don't relegate her to a facilitating role, and you certainly don't stash her in the corner as a glorified diversion. You empower her to command the game, because even her most audacious attempts often yield better results than other players' safe layups. Yet time and again, precisely when she finds her rhythm and starts to dictate the tempo, the coaches intervene with a timeout or a play call that dampens her fire. This isn't just detrimental to Clark, it's a disservice to the entire sport. Fans demand explosive performances, a willingness to challenge defenses from extraordinary distances, and the audacious spirit that captivated the nation. What we're currently witnessing, however, is a team seemingly striving for a low-scoring defensive grind in a league that has definitively moved beyond such antiquated strategies. While defensive mastery is commendable, when that defensive focus begins to infect and stifle the offensive identity, it transforms into a significant liability. It increasingly appears that the Fever's coaching staff views Clark's offensive brilliance not as an asset to amplify, but as a force to paradoxically contain.
Make a decision. Y'all want to keep making all this damn money off me, or do y'all can make money off her being a coach? Pick one. Pick one. What are we doing here? This was trash. We got popped. We got smoked by the Valkyries. Smoked. We down 20 at home. We down a dub at home. This front office is a joke. I don't know how they even let Timmy Fagbenle walk away. We didn't protect her. Bro, this front office is a joke. This coach is even more of a joke. A pure clown is what this coach is.
The strategic rationale behind this approach remains utterly inscrutable. Why bring in the most dominant offensive weapon to emerge in years, only to demand she conform to a pre-existing system designed for an entirely different type of player? If indeed it was designed for anyone specifically, there's nothing in their current offensive philosophy that suggests an embrace of modern, dynamic basketball. Instead, it seems steeped in an overly cautious, almost fearful mindset, prioritizing a close game over a dominant internet-breaking victory. What's even more perplexing is the recurring pattern. Every time Clark begins to heat up, stringing together quick threes and asserting control, she's either benched or her role is immediately rerouted. This isn't about fostering development, it's about suppression. Clark arrived as a plug-and-play superstar, already possessing the tools to transform an offense. The notion that she needs to develop into something less effective under a restrictive system is, quite frankly, absurd.
Stephanie White. Why not? It always works. 2 defenders are always going to go with Caitlin Clark. There should never be a play where Caitlin Clark brings the ball up the court and then she passes it and she runs off the playoff ball. Every single possession, there should be a screen, whether it be a Leah Boston, whether it be a Kelsey Mitchell who's going to cut, whether it be a Natasha Howard, literally any player. They set Caitlin Clark a screen at the top of the key, and off that, your whole offense should function. I don't care what Stephanie White wants to do with this motion offense thing. Literally, all you have to do every single time you have a practice is worry about what to do after the double team.
Instead of leveraging her immediate game-changing capabilities, they're seemingly treating her like an untested prototype, as if the team is in the nascent stages of a 4-year rebuilding cycle, and she must slowly earn the right to fully display her talents. Meanwhile, other players appear to have far more freedom to take questionable shots, while Clark is paradoxically asked to defer and prove herself. Fever fans, it must be stated, purchase tickets not to observe theoretical potential, but to witness tangible production. Each game where her unconstrained talent is held back represents a squandered opportunity, a night where the audience anticipates a dazzling display and receives merely a frustrating drizzle. This isn't a reflection of Clark's capacity, it highlights a severe tactical misjudgment akin to playing a sophisticated game of chess with checkers pieces. Ultimately, a critical observation needs to be vocalized. While this coaching staff might possess defensive acumen, their overall strategy yields inconsistent results and leaves everyone, especially the star player, seemingly confused. It's like attempting to excavate a hole with a highly specialized weapon designed for entirely different purposes. It might technically work, but it's wildly inefficient and bound to create a significant mess. Caitlin Clark is that weapon. Aim her at the basket and empower her to unleash her formidable shot. Cease requiring her to engage in excessive passing sequences before taking a contested mid-range jumper that nobody truly wants to see.
Saying this late last year in November when the Indiana Fever hired Stephanie White. I never thought I'd be saying this right now, only 19 games into the 2025 season, that it's time for Stephanie White to go. The Indiana Fever needs to fire Stephanie White. This is not going to work. What we're seeing is not going to work.
It's clear to anyone paying attention that this current strategy is unsustainable. The most circulated, viral clips aren't showcasing meticulously executed set plays. They're featuring Clark's audacious, unscripted moments, pulling up from remarkable distances, creating something out of nothing, and consistently making the impossible look effortless. This raw, electrifying brilliance is precisely why people are tuning in, why they genuinely care. They crave excitement, spontaneity, and decisive action, not a cautious, predictable rotation designed to protect fragile egos at the expense of actual winning. We are witnessing a generational talent being constrained by a tactical blueprint seemingly conceived decades ago, and the justifications for this approach are becoming increasingly tenuous. How much longer until they assign her to play center, or perhaps sideline her from shooting entirely to focus solely on inbound passes? The absurdity of her development arc seems to right itself. Meanwhile, other teams, acutely aware of her immense value, are undoubtedly watching this misstep with keen interest, envisioning what they could achieve if Clark were on their roster, paired with a coach who understood how to harness, not hinder, an offensive powerhouse. This transcends mere play calling. It's a profound conflict of identity. It's the stark reality of a coaching philosophy built to suppress elite talent clashing with a player uniquely destined to define it. One cannot construct an impenetrable wall and then express bewilderment when the sunlight fails to penetrate. Similarly, one cannot shackle brilliance and then criticize its failure to radiate.
Hi, I'm Stephanie White, head coach of the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark, and I'm a complete clown. I'm a clown. That is what I am as a head coach. I am a clown. I am ruining Caitlin Clark. I have no idea what I'm doing as a coach. I have no idea what I'm doing. I've been sent here on a mission to ruin Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. And I think I'm doing a masterful job because I suck. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I actually have no idea how I got this job in the first place. I don't know how I got this job in the first place. I am a clown.
The simple, resounding truth is this: let Caitlin be Caitlin. That fundamental principle encapsulates the entire dilemma, a mantra worthy of a banner or a stadium-wide chant. Because if she is not permitted to play her authentic game, the very purpose of drafting her in the first place becomes moot. In that scenario, the team might as well have selected a different player, signed a capable role player, and simply adhered to their rigid set pieces, accepting the ensuing media criticism. But if you choose to bring in a force of nature like Clark, you must allow her to unleash her full power, to shoot, to lead. Until that happens, every single game feels like watching Picasso meticulously paint by numbers. While the brushstrokes may be clean, where is the transcendent masterpiece? A truly great coach doesn't enter a locker room armed with inflexible blueprints that simply don't align with the existing talent. Instead, they sculpt a system around their superstar, recognizing that she is not a replaceable component. The Fever possess a veritable nuclear core of offensive potential, currently sitting dormant. This isn't amateur hour where everyone is forced to master a handful of plays and any deviation results in a benching. This is the WNBA, where the ultimate objective is victory, and victory is achieved by identifying what works, then relentlessly exploiting it until maximum advantage is secured. Right now, the wheels of potential are not just on, they are exquisitely designed, glowing, and spinning with incredible momentum.
So Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever fans are having a meltdown about they god Stephanie White that they wanted so bad, man. So I've been seeing the takes, man. So now they want Caitlin Clark to demand a trade, or they want the front office to pick between Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White, man. I'm not gonna say I tried to tell y'all, man, but it's just like, I was trying to tell y'all, man, like, Stephanie White is not this god that y'all was making her out to be, man. You know, Christy, like, I'm not even here to...
Yet, instead of allowing this incredible momentum to propel them forward, someone continues to slam the brakes every time it begins to accelerate. The greatest coaches in the annals of sports history were never defined by their unwavering devotion to a single system. They were masterful at understanding and empowering their players. They didn't arrive with preconceived notions, but rather listened, observed, and adapted their strategies. Consider Phil Jackson in Chicago. Did he impose the triangle offense as an unyielding dogma and demand Michael Jordan prioritize unselfishness above all else? Absolutely not. He provided a tactical framework within which Jordan could not only excel, but truly explode, elevating his game and those around him. The Fever, in stark contrast, appear fixated on molding Clark into a pass-first, 8-point-per-game floor general whose primary function is to make others look good. Here's the spoiler. No one showed up for that particular narrative. The profound tragedy here is that the solution is so painfully evident. Let her shoot. Let her run the offense. Let her break the game wide open. This isn't merely about creating flashy highlights. It's fundamentally an issue of efficiency and winning. Caitlin Clark performing as Caitlin Clark gives this team their absolute best chance to succeed. Every instance where she's allowed to deviate from the script and simply play her instinctive, unburdened game, the entire team suddenly springs to life. The ball moves with greater fluidity, spacing miraculously improves, defenders begin to panic, the fans erupt, and the scoreboard rapidly shifts. It's as if the moment her leash is released, the entire roster levels up.
Stephanie White yesterday reduced Caitlin Clark to a role player. She turned a star into a role player like we've never seen before. While Tyler Marsh is trying to turn Angel Reese into a star, Stephanie White is trying to turn Caitlin Clark into a role player. Let that sink in.
And then you simply don't observe that kind of self-sabotaging behavior with genuinely great coaching. True leadership in sports isn't about shoehorning every athlete into a monolithic mold. It's about discerning each player's unique superpowers and constructing a strategic framework that amplifies them. And if that necessitates torching the old playbook and embracing a new philosophy, then by all means hand over the matches. What we are currently witnessing is a stark philosophical dissonance. The core issue isn't that Caitlin Clark doesn't fit the system. It's that the system fundamentally wasn't designed to accommodate a player of her unparalleled caliber, and rather than strategically overhauling the system, they are attempting to surgically remove the very aspects of her game that make her exceptional. This is precisely the kind of coaching decision that earns a prominent spot on what not to do segments across sports networks. History, after all, rarely remembers the rigid systems. It immortalizes the players who defied them, the ones who dared to redefine the boundaries of the game itself. Caitlin Clark is undeniably one of those rare talents. Attempting to sculpt her into a meticulously shaped, rigid component of a restrictive game plan is as futile as trying to digitally alter a raging wildfire with Photoshop. It will only result in immense frustration, and the fire will continue to burn, undiminished.
Well, you gotta get the hell up out of here, bro. Pack your shit. Pack your shit, bro. No, I'm not even playing that game, bro. No, I'm not doing that. Pack your bags right now. Stephanie White gotta go. You gotta go. You are a clown of a coach, a pure clown of a coach, bro. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? You got the best point guard in the world, and you have her playing small forward. You got her playing small forward, bro. What are we talking about here? This is like Mike D'Antoni having this 7 seconds or less Phoenix Suns and saying, hey, Steve Nash, go stand in a corner. We want Quentin Richardson to bring the ball up. Man,
This situation transcends the individual plight of a single player. It speaks to the entire cultural ecosystem that surrounds her. When a coaching staff genuinely empowers its superstar, a powerful ripple effect extends throughout the entire team. Teammates feed off that vibrant energy, playing with greater speed, fluidity, and uninhibited freedom. Conversely, if the prevailing message from the top is to exercise caution and avoid doing too much, that tentative mindset inevitably trickles down. Suddenly, everyone becomes hesitant, constantly seeking permission rather than acting decisively, and nothing, absolutely nothing, erodes momentum more effectively than hesitation. This is the crucial distinction between playing to win and merely playing not to lose. And currently, the Fever appear to be tiptoeing through games, hyper-focused on avoiding missteps rather than confidently seizing control and dominating. Consider the legacies of coaching greats like Pat Summitt. Her impact stemmed not just from a system, but from an undeniable presence that inspired fearless play. The truth is, the system isn't causing Caitlyn to fail. She is miraculously surviving and even excelling in spite of it. And that perhaps is the most disheartening aspect of all. She's finding ways to make it work, even when the underlying plan was never configured for her success. Because when you truly unleash talent, rather than obsessively manage it, that is when genuine magic ignites. That is when dynasties are forged. And that is when your team transcends being a mere cautionary tale and begins its transformation into a legend.